dédé àsìkò yìí o. Hey guys, it's Aderonke, and today I'm going to talk about the punishments that exist for committing adultery or fornication, the ones that have been observed in the Yoruba community, the usual ones. So, ìjìyà fún ṣíṣe àgbèrè tàbí panṣágà. There was, and there still is, no general repercussion for having premarital or extramarital affairs among the Yoruba people. So even within the Yoruba community, the way people from the different towns handle matters differ. What factors matter? It's important to, if someone is going to get punished for premarital, extramarital affairs, certain factors would come into play. First of all, gender. Males went scot-free, and they still do much more than women did as far as reprimands and consequences for premarital or extramarital sex were concerned. It's not particular to the Yoruba culture alone, because this is seen in several other cultures. Because women can get pregnant out of wedlock, and this is usually considered distasteful, parents and other members of the society tend to be stricter with them. Also, back then, there was a lot of emphasis, much earlier in history, there was a lot of emphasis on virginity in females, getting married as a virgin and all that. So, you may not be punished in any form. If you're a man, they would consider, well, you have nothing to lose and you're just being yourself. This was the culture and might still be. But as a woman, you would suffer consequences if you were caught. So gender will come into play. Another thing is your personal belief. Sometimes you don't even have to be punished by other people. You could punish your own self. So if you believe that you should be starved for sleeping with another person's partner or anyone at all, you would be punishing your own self by not eating. Family values. Different family values exist. And their families have different ways of handling issues. Even within one town that share numerous beliefs, there might still be differences in family values. So family might be cool with it, and another family might say, oh no, we insist that our females, especially usually the females, we insist that our females don't engage in this kind of affairs, or this and that would happen. So family values. Another thing is religious values. So for religion's sake, sometimes extramarital or premarital affairs were usually not acceptable. In Nigeria, for instance, where the Orisha Yewa is, a person who is a devotee of, not necessarily a devotee, you could be a devotee, but I think an initiate of Yewa is not supposed to be sexually active at all, let alone engage in sexual affairs. Also, in the Oshogbo town, usually we have this larugba, the votary maiden, that is supposed to remain a virgin until she's ready to get married, and tons and tons of appealing and sacrificing and all that would allow her to be free so that she can now have a man. So things like that. Even someone like an initiate of Obatalá, you can't be an Obatalá priest and be jumping from woman to woman. It's like I don't know, it's just not expected. It probably would not even be in your nature, but you're not supposed to be that. So religious values basically would come into play as far as the punishments that you and whoever you engage in the affair with would suffer are concerned. Also, groups belong to, so there are certain cults and certain groups that might state that you must never cheat, and they would assign a woman to you and say, until the day of your death, this person is your partner. Or they would assign a man to you and you're not supposed to be with any other person, or at least have affairs with any other person, sexual affairs, except them. So groups belong to. Another thing is class or social positions. So the repercussions that a queen might suffer for cheating could be a lot different from the ones that an older single woman would experience. A woman who happens to be wealthy and influential. So it would even be an honor to be with her. Like, there would be nobody to judge her because she's thinkingly rich. But if you're just a housewife and you cheat, of course, and you're poor, especially, or a member of the working class, it's like, oh, okay, then you begin to get a lot of criticism if you're caught. So that's that. What punishments exist? So we have several. The first is scolding. So if you are caught, you would often be reported to your parents if it's your partner that catches you or is aware, or even before you get married, if someone catches you, a member of the society, people do snitch, yes, and they snitch on you and say, we caught your daughter doing this, and it's distasteful, and nobody really minds their business. I mean, it's better now, but back then it was so communal that people did your business was everyone's business, pretty much, or most of your business. Verbal correction, oro, is words. So iforobawi is using words to correct. Another one is flogging or beating. Nínà pẹ̀lú ẹgba pàṣán àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Nínà pẹ̀lú ẹgba pàṣán àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. So flogging with canes or whips or whatnot, you could be flogged as well. Parents could flog you. Your older siblings could flog you, especially if you were a girl. I mean, life was really tough for women back then as far as physical pleasures were concerned. So that could happen. Also, domestic violence was very, very common. It wasn't unheard of that a man would beat his wife for cheating, So physical violence, but I'm not approving this. This should never be done. It's unfortunate that it happened and it still happens. It's quite distasteful and it should stop. Because if you lay your hands on your partner, whether you're a man or a woman, you're just, I don't know, you're disgusting. Anyway, another one is beating, which is lilu. So ilu is drum. You must have had that, probably. Ilu is drum. So when you beat a drum, you own lu ilu. Ilu basically is beating. That's my point. Ilu, beating. So another one is wrestling or fighting. Ija. So if, let's say, you sleep with another woman's husband, she might come to you and she might fight with you. So ija is another one. Another one is shaming. Ebu is insult. Ekpe or egun is curse, and shame is itiju. Ebu, ekpe tabegun, itiju. Egun is like a very, very intense kind of cursing. The ekpe is just like, your cursed. But egun is like, egun tends to go really far into your generation. So like even your children's children would probably be affected by it. So eguns are usually worse. Shaming. There are several songs that people sing for people. I mean, there used to be song for girls that were having premarital affairs or women that were having extramarital affairs. Usually, if you're a man and you cheat, there's not that many. There's literally not even one song for a man who has extramarital affairs, but there are several for the woman that he has extramarital affairs with. So they will sing boko boko poli boko mommy lo. There are several songs, and it's when you have like a physical defect or something, people would abuse you with it and say, "Oh, look at you that look like this and that. Like, how dare you?" So that happens. That happened and it still happens. Another one is long-term malice or other kinds of non-physical domestic violence. So people often think that, domestic violence is, when you're beaten or when you're punched by your spouse, but not necessarily. Sometimes they may mentally manipulate you or make you feel really stupid and confused. Sometimes they would be nice to you in public, before their parents or your own parents or even members of the society, but then at night they don't go near you and they don't let you touch them, if you get what I mean. So it's like, I don't understand. They make you feel like, you're disgusting, especially when you're in private. And when you report and say, I'm being abused, people would ask you if he's beating you. If you say no, they'll be like, you have this really sweet man and you're complaining. Yeah, is suffering. So when a person is suffering, we say, oh, Jaya. The person is, J is it. So the person is suffering, Jaya. The process or just the experience of suffering is called Jaya, suffering. Another one is a loss of position. Ìyọkúrò nínú ipò. Let's say you are, I don't know, the Yalode, of a town. And the Yalodes are female chiefs. And you have extramarital affairs and you're reported, or like your husband dresses you down or what not. You could be sent away because the other women, I don't know, it's just the society, might lose respect for you in one shape or the other. You won't really be a good women leader anymore just because you've had an affair. So that was common as well. Removal from positions. Ìyọkúrò nínú ipò. Another one is divorce. Ìkọ̀sílẹ̀. So a person could, back then, if you were divorcing, not many women divorced their husbands because like it was a shameful thing to go back to your parents' house. And I'm telling you, this was why a lot of women went through a lot of suffering, just because it's shameful. Oh, you can't keep a man, type of society. So ìkọ̀sílẹ̀ is divorce, and when a man divorces you, basically just sends you to your sends you to your parents' house with your stuff. So that was the kind of divorce that existed. And I don't know if in some cases the men asked for a return of the bride price that they paid, or they just left it and forgot about it and just let the woman go. But ìkọ̀sílẹ̀ was common as well. Another one is banishment Lílé. So if in a town, I said certain Yoruba societies, or not societies, towns tend to be stricter with these sins compared to others. So back, I don't think that happens anymore, but in certain towns you could be banished for engaging in an affair, especially if you're a woman. They would say, oh yeah, you're not fit to be here, you're disgusting. Another one is death. Death is iku. If you're a votary maiden, for instance, and you engage in a premarital affair, if the deity kills your spouse, let's say you are having intercourse at all and Yewa kills your spouse, or because you're not supposed to be sexually active and she does, then that would be the repercussion, I guess. So sometimes death. Another one, the last one, probably one of the most intense forms of punishment, is magun. Magun is a kind of charm or spell that can be traced to Shango, Obakoso, Kabiyesi. So it's magun is do not climb. So do not have intercourse. Basically, is a way of translating it. So there are different types of magun, and these types all have different effects or consequences. So there is magun for the unmarried and there's magun for the married. Magun for the married would most often be placed on the wife by a husband if she feels that she's cheating and he has caught her several times, and or even if he just catches her once, and he decides to punish her, somehow this charm exists, and it would sometimes be, the spell will sometimes be casted on like a thin broomstick or anything thin really, and it would be placed at the entrance of a door or wherever the lady passes, so that she would cross over it without our consent. So she might not know that it's in the ground. Her husband might just call her, honey, Yawo, come here. And she crosses over it and, she gets inflicted. As from that point, the man stops having sexual relations with her, just because anyone who does would either suffer some diseases. There are different things that could happen, or die. So he abstains from her. So women who were not being touched by their husbands would usually know that it must be that this man has placed mago on me without my consent. So what happens is that any man who sleeps with her would usually begin to crow. There's mago alakuko, in which whatever after the intercourse, whoever sleeps with that inflicted woman would begin to crow like a cock, or begin to just drink water, just be so thirsty in such an abnormal way, and begin to drink so much till they're bloated until they die. Another one is the mango onigbokiti. So that one, after the relation, after the intercourse, wherever the man is, would begin to somersaults, several times. I think maybe at the third time he somersaults, it would die. There are different. I could go on and on and on, but you get the idea. The sad thing about mago is that, especially the kind that is done for the married ones, is that if the woman doesn't have intercourse, after a while she would begin to get sick. After a short while she'd begin to get sick, really sick, until she dies. So she decides not to sleep with anyone just because she wants to not kill anyone. She would probably end up dying herself. So that kind of mago exists. There's a movie by Mainframe Productions called Mago Thunderbolt by Tunde Kelani. If you Google it, you would find it. Thunderbolt, Mago. So look for it. It's a pretty interesting movie. It would give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about. There's a kind of mago that would not involve the lady having sexual intercourse. There's one that is done for like the ones that have not been with men, and it would be placed on the lady's body, and if she's raped or or something is done to her, or after she has been warned, she has intercourse anyway, but she doesn't know that she has the mago. Whoever she sleeps with would have those effects that I've spoken about. They might begin to cough, they might begin to just act abnormally. They might get diseases, different types of rashes and poxes and chicken pox, smallpox. It might just be awful. So that could happen. And she might go scot-free. Like, she might not be affected. It is whoever sleeps with her that would be affected. So if there's like a rapist or something that attacks her, they would probably, die almost immediately, or after a short while. So I don't want to take away the mystery of this mago. I want you to watch the movie again. This is not a promotion. I've just seen the movie and I want you to see it too. It's pretty interesting. I saw it many years ago. To understand what this is about. So mago. And it's not just mago that exists. There's several other kinds that exist that serve the same purpose. There are different charms that help, that tie women to one particular man. So women have their own charms too, but there's probably nothing as like severe as this mago that women have access to. So mago is pretty severe. Anyway, so this is the end of my video. If you have any questions, perhaps regarding mago or any other things that I've mentioned, please ask me in the comment section below. And if you want to give me any monetary gifts, I don't know why my video is not being monetized, but if you want to bless my account, not necessarily bless, just give me a gift or something, you can send it to my PayPal. I don't think you need to have a PayPal account to do so. If you have any questions, like I said, contact me. With that being said, I hope you have a nice day. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like my videos. Bye bye.